Hey guys, a deadlift, along with the squat, is one of the most foundational functional movements that we need as a human being. We want to be able to pick up things off the floor for the rest of our lives, whether it's something fairly light or something really heavy. It might be something as simple as a bag of dog food, or it might be, in my case, there was a time I was buying a toilet from Home Depot, and as I was walking out to the car, one of the employees said, "Hey, do you need help lifting that into your car?" I thought to myself, man, no, I don't need that. I deadlift. I can pick this thing up. And I did. And just a note, picking up a toilet is a really odd object to pick up. It is not centered or balanced or anything like that. But I deadlifted it, got it into a car. So we want to have the functional ability to deadlift or pick up anything we need to at any time, whether it's just something routine or in an emergency. There is a proper way to deadlift. And we want to think about a deadlift as a hinging movement. We're hinging with our hips to actually pick something up off the ground. It's not a squat. A squat is a completely different movement. Oftentimes, people will tend to try to deadlift as if they're squatting by bending their legs significantly as opposed to hinging with their hips. But a deadlift or picking something up is all about hinging at our hips. So I'll show you what a proper deadlift looks like and we'll talk through the basics. So to set up for this deadlift, I am going to stand with my feet about hip width apart, toes just barely slightly turned out. I'm gonna have my hands just outside of my hips so that they don't hit my knees on the way down or the way up. And I'm going to teach you the deadlift from the top down, and then we'll go from the bottom up. So when we're standing tall with the deadlift, we actually finish the deadlift standing tall with our bottom squeezed. To initiate the downward descent of a deadlift, we actually think about pushing our butt back and then lowering down about the top of our knees, and then we let our legs bend a little bit more. As we stand up, our shoulders and our hips rise at the same time, get above our knees, squeeze our butt to finish that rep. Again, starting from the top, we're pushing our butt back and allowing that barbell to slide down our thighs, just barely touching our thighs. Top of the knee, we've got a big hinge in our hips right now. Our hips are relatively high. Now our shoulders and our butt come down at the same time to about mid-shin, and we stand up, squeezing our butt at the end. Again, we're going for a significant hinge with our hips. That's why we push that butt back and drop down. We let our chest come down. My chin is neutral. I think of having a piece of twine attached to my chin as well as my chest. So I'm not craning my neck up. I'm not looking down too far. I've got my chin neutral, pushing my butt back, and having a straight back as I come down. This is a significant hinge right here. Once I get to about the top of my knees, now I'm dropping down. Hips and chest are dropping. As I stand up, hips and shoulders will rise at the same time. As I get above my knees with whatever I'm picking up, I squeeze my butt to finish that rep. All right? Again, significant hinge hip situation. What we don't want to do is we don't want to squat first. So for example, if I have that barbell in my hands and at the top of the deadlift and I'm going to go down, if I squat first by bending my knees, the bar is now resting on my thighs and has to go out around my knees to get down. And this is a really awkward position to put ourselves in. If I push my butt back, the barbell drops straight down to the top of my knees and then down my shins, and then we stand right back up. Now the movement looks very similar when we're using dumbbells or a barbell. Doesn't really matter. We've got feet about hip width, standing up tall, butt is squeezed when I'm finished. I start by pushing my hips back, hinging at my hips, letting the dumbbell start to drop straight down. As I get to about my knees, I start to bend my legs, touch the dumbbells to the floor, and stand up at about my knees and squeezing my butt to finish the rep. Push that butt back, dropping down, letting my hips hinge, touch the floor, coming up, shoulders and hips rise at the same time, squeeze my butt, and that is my deadlift. We don't want the deadlift to look like a squat. This is the squat. So we want that deadlift, again, pushing the butt back, bending at the hips, back is straight, touching the ground, shoulders and hips rise at the same time, squeeze our butt to finish that movement. So we spent a good amount of time talking about how to move through a deadlift starting at the top position. Let's talk really quickly about how to get to that top position on your first deadlift from the floor. So when we approach the bar, we want to think about having our shins as close to the bar as possible, almost touching the bar. I push my butt back and I bring my body down as if I'm doing that initial descent of a deadlift to bring my hands on the bar. Again, I'm putting my hands just outside of my hips, getting ready. I've got my chin neutral, my butt is relatively high. I tighten everything, my tummy, my lats, keeping my chest big, and I raise my shoulders and my hips at the same time. Once I get past my knees, squeeze my butt. There's my deadlift. Pushing my butt back, lowering it down. The bar is touching my thighs, touching my shin, nearly touching my shins on the way down. And I'm right here. Butt is high, chest is tall, head is neutral. And I lift with my chest, my hips rise at the same time, get past my knees, squeeze my butt, and I'm at the top. Butt goes back, bar comes down my thighs, past my knee, shoulders and hips drop. There's my deadlift from the floor. What we really want to do on that deadlift from the floor is imagine getting really tight and creating some tension in our hamstrings before we lift. We're literally getting ourselves in position, creating that tension. I've got a little stretch of my hamstrings going, then I initiate my deadlift. One of the ways that we can train our body to hinge at the hip as well as warm up for a deadlift is to do good mornings or banded good mornings. I'll show you both. So a barbell good morning, I'm standing tall, I've got my legs relatively straight but not locked. Pushing my butt back, I hinge at the hips, coming down as far as I can until I reach the end range of my mobility and squeeze my butt to stand up. Pushing my butt back, keeping my back straight, knees are soft, feel that stretch, stand up tall. Again, pushing that butt back, knees are soft, back is straight, feel that stretch, stand up tall. We can also do banded good mornings as part of a warm-up and a way of teaching our hips to hinge as opposed to squat for a deadlift. And put that band over our shoulders, step on it, standing tall, knees are soft, chest is tall, pushing my butt back, allowing myself to come down. Again, I'm coming down as far as I can with a straight back, no rounding, and I'm feeling a stretch in my hamstrings. Squeeze my butt to stand tall. Push my butt back, feel that stretch in my hamstrings, stand up tall. If you can't get very far down on a good morning, that's totally okay. You'll build mobility over time. So if you get just to here, you feel it, squeeze your butt to stand tall. Here is fine. Getting lower and lower and lower over time increases mobility and muscle awareness, so you know how to hinge your hips for a deadlift. So the deadlift is one of those movements that can make us really strong really fast. When I started, I could barely deadlift 135 pounds. Within a few months, not doing a ton of deadlifts, but a handful of deadlifts in my workouts, I was lifting 225 pounds, then 275, then 315. My current 1 rep max deadlift is around 485 pounds. It's just something that develops our large muscle groups so quickly. And when you do a deadlift correctly, it is a super safe and very effective movement. Remember, feet will be just about hip width, toes turn just slightly out, hand grip on the bar will be just outside of your hips, your chest is tall and neutral, back is straight, chin is neutral. We are picking up that bar from the floor, starting in a place where we have solid tension, we feel a stretch in our hamstrings, our butt is relatively high, our chest and our hips rise at the same time. Once we get past our knees, squeezing our butt at the top. To go back down, we push our butt back, let that barbell or dumbbell come right down our thighs, past our knees, as our shoulder and our hips descend at the same time to put that barbell back down on the ground and do a million more reps. Lots of reps. There's your deadlift. Let's get good at it so we can lift some heavy stuff whenever we need to.